Michigan moves into the national title game in dramatic fashion over Alabama. Washington holds off Texas. And so you have that matchup coming up next Monday night. And in case you're wondering, DraftKings has the line on the game. It's Michigan minus 4.5 against Washington. As we continue to disrespect Washington and Michael Penix Jr. III. Do love watching that offense. I don't know if they have the manpower defensively to stop Michigan in their running game, but we have plenty of time to dissect that. But people are still going to underestimate Washington, and they did last night, although those games could have gone either way. I mean, Texas could have won that game. And certainly Alabama, if Milroe follows his lineman, he might have a pretty good chance getting into the end zone. But Washington and Michigan will play for the national title. I would love if they moved the transfer portal to at least after last night's game. Let's say you start today and you got 10 days transfer portal, or you wait until next Tuesday at this time after the national title game. Because maybe, these kids will want to play, showcase their talents one more time to go into the transfer portal. But watching these bowl games, I mean, what a disaster for college football. They so underread maybe what was going to happen. Or the value of these bowl games. Remember, we had to protect the sanctity of pageantry of the bowl games. That's why we wouldn't have a playoff. Okay. Nobody cares about these bowl games. And these sponsors are going to go, well, nobody's watching. I wonder what's going to happen with these sponsors with these bowl games. Now, granted, there are times you tune in because, wait, they named a bowl game what? And then I'll tune in just to see what the product is. Or there's a mascot. I did like the Pop-Tart bowl.
Nice.
I thought it was good.
Big hit.
Yeah, it was.
That Pop-Tart was a big hit.
Are you going to have more things that are edible? Like more edible bowl game mascots? Because I think that would be awesome. Like a hot dog, Hebrew National. Yes, Todd.
I think the Cheez-It mascot went out of its way to say, don't start biting into me because I am not edible. So
I know
please
he
don't
did.
attack me with your mouth.
He did or she did. Like, hey, teeth off.
She's a little underappreciated right now. Like they're kind of the OG that people have forgotten about.
Yes, Marvin.
Just an edibles bowl.
Ooh, okay.
People might be moving a little bit slower than
like
expected,
that.
but
I like that. Yeah.
we'll have a good time.
Yeah. Big bowl of edibles.
Snoop Dogg's edibles bowl. Let's go.
I saw where Snoop's going to work for NBC in the Olympics in Paris. He's actually going to be, one of their announcers.
What sport?
I don't.
More lifestyle, I think. Content.
No,
More lifestyle.
I think he's going to be at the desk. I have no idea what they're doing. By the way, we'll play Jim Harbaugh's sound from last night. You talk about an Irish goodbye. He was able to do the one question, see ya. Here, you want to talk to this guy. He didn't want to talk about his future at all. I love how he loves his alma mater. The Michigan fans say he loves his alma mater. While he's trying to leverage whatever he's leveraging with the NFL or Michigan to help him with his next job. But he loves his alma mater. If he loves his alma mater, sign the deal. Great money. Sign the deal. You love your alma mater. That's why I still think he's going to the NFL. I think he's going to the Chargers. Still feel that. Yes, Todd.
You think the outcome next Monday night plays any role? Win and you want to try to go back-to-back, lose, you want to come back and win one, or has nothing to do with the better NFL opportunity?
I have no idea. There's nobody like Jim Harbaugh. He is quirky. He's odd. But he's great at one thing. I mean, he's great at coaching football. But we'll hear from Jim Harbaugh coming up. But I just see him West Coast again. Did it at Stanford, did it with the Niners, did it in San Diego when he started his college career as a coach. So I just feel like he's headed back out there, and no matter what happens next Monday night. But they are favored by 4.5. And he did call J.J. McCarthy the greatest Michigan quarterback of all time, which factually isn't true. Chad Henne, if you want to have stats, look at Chad Henne's stats. Chad Henne put up some really big numbers. And Brian Griese did win a national championship when he was there at Michigan. But he did that his quarterback is so great that I don't think he threw a pass in the second half against Penn State when they ran the football. But, he's on the national stage here next Monday night, and so is Michael Penix Jr. III, who looked wonderful last night. Yes, Marvin?
Has Michigan had enough great college quarterbacks to make it seem like it's the USC greatest quarterback?
No.
Or Notre Dame's greatest quarterback ever?
No, they had really good...
Elvis Gerback?
Yes, they had really good college quarterbacks. Really good. Not great, but really good. Yes. But, they were a running team for such a long time. Yes, Marv.
And Jim Harbaugh said Tom Brady. Tom Brady wasn't a great quarterback at Michigan.
No.
And he just kept saying, he's got to work his way to be Tom Brady's level. I was like, let's stop using Tom Brady in any conversation regarding a quarterback at any time. I don't care if he wears number 12. I don't care if he went to Michigan. Let's stop doing that. Let's just stop putting, you know what? Brock Purdy, he's got a little Brady in him. Stop doing that. Go ahead, back to you.
Yeah. Here is Jim Harbaugh, and here is the reporter's question for him on ESPN.
Well, Coach, you're down here hugging players, and the first thing I hear you say to guys, I love you. Yeah. How do you describe the bond on this team that just got that win?
It's a togetherness. I don't think we're so together, so connected, and we were going to overcome anything that was inside this stadium. Talk to this man right here. He made it happen.
We will.
That was great. It was like, I don't want you to be able to ask me a question about my future, Holly Rowe. He's like, here, talk to Blake Corum. Come on in here, Blake. See you later. And then Harbaugh went to the press conference. Here is the reporter's question for Jim.
Congratulations, Coach. There's a lot of interest in your future. I wonder if you can tell me what the chances are that the championship game might be your last one at Michigan.
Boy, my future consists of a happy flight back to Ann Arbor, Michigan. Can't wait.
Jim, back to my question there. I appreciate a reporter asking the question. He's not going to answer that. But, it's a must-ask situation. Unfortunately, you should be talking about the national title game, but there have been reports out there. Jim hasn't squashed these reports. All he has to do is say, hey, I flirted with the NFL last year, and I let people know that got leaked to an NFL reporter that I was talking to the Vikings, and there's nothing to sway me the other side that he's going to stay at Michigan. And it's, all you have to do is say, look, I'm not interested in the NFL. I'm not going. Now, it doesn't mean that you won't go. It's like when Saban was with the Dolphins. They're like, are you taking the Alabama job? No, I'm not. I'm staying here. And, Nick Saban took the Alabama job. You can always go back on your word. But in the moment there, I didn't think he was going to say much. Yes, Tom.
He didn't answer it, but it's a little more light and fun than we're on to Washington, or something you get from
Belichick.
Almost any other coach.
Yeah. Here's Nick Saban talking about the final play of the game. Here's the question to the Alabama coach.
Coach Saban, could you talk about the last play and what made that one the best one that you wanted to go with?
We called 3 plays. One they called timeout, one we called timeout, and the last one that didn't work. So the fact that it didn't work made it a really bad call. You know what I mean? So but we called timeout because we had a bad look. We had a good look on the first one. They must have known it. But Tommy just felt like the best thing that we could do was have a quarterback run, which was kind of our 2-point play, one of our 2-point plays for this game. And the ball was on the 3-yard line, which is just like a 2-point play. So, but we didn't get it blocked, so it didn't work. We didn't execute it very well, and it didn't work. And they pressured, and we thought they would pressure, but we thought we could gap them and block them and make it work, and it didn't.
But it would have worked, I think, if Milroe follows his offensive lineman. But you had a bad snap for the entire game, low snaps. The entire game. That center never improved. And Milroe got it low and probably didn't wait for just a split second longer. Maybe panicked a little bit and then ran right into the pile there. if he follows his offensive line, he trips over one of his linemen, but if he follows and goes to the left, I think he scores a touchdown there. It's like Texas. A better pass from Quinn Ewers on the final play, Texas may have won that game last night. I mean, these games came down to one or two plays. By the way, the Rose Bowl's wonderful. I don't care who's playing in the Rose Bowl setting is still magical. It's wonderful. And, we wait for the sunset at the Rose Bowl. I just remember being on the East Coast, Midwest growing up, and, Ohio State would go out there and then they would get, bludgeoned by USC. But I was like, man, what a great setting to have your team get crushed. Because I grew up an Ohio State and Notre Dame fan. And I just remember Ohio State would go to the Rose Bowl and you'd go, God, it really is a pretty sunset. And Ohio State's getting blown out. And then watching last night, and Herbie talked about this because Herbie grew up not too far from where I'm from. And you looked at the Rose Bowl. The Rose Bowl is sort of like the Garden. It's Madison Square Garden. When LeBron plays the Knicks, he's not playing the Knicks. LeBron's in the Garden. And the Rose Bowl is the same way. It just makes a game bigger. And something about that setting, the fact that, when you're going to the stadium, you're like driving through a neighborhood and all of a sudden there's the Rose Bowl. I mean, Lambeau's like that as well. You're driving through a neighborhood and all of a sudden a stadium pops up. And just, there's a few of those stadiums that are still in existence. Even Fenway, when you're there and you're walking around the neighborhood, all of a sudden, there's Fenway. Still love that. But watching the Rose Bowl last night, that was a great setting.